This is the DJV Download. I'm Doug.
I'm Jen.
And I'm Victoria.
This podcast made possible in part by Calitrin, the safe way to lose weight, Prevagen, keeping your brain healthy, and My Pillow, guaranteed the most comfortable pillow you'll ever own.
All right, time for some trending news with Jay Kirshner. So, Jay, why is Martha Stewart in the news? I mean, I know we love to talk about Martha. You just reminded me off the air that she's 80 years old. She looks incredible. But
right?
she was
She's
recently
been 60 in my mind for decades now.
She definitely looks like she's in her 60s. So she was recently on the Ellen DeGeneres show. And what did she spill? Because this is some tea that I never, ever knew.
Okay, so she dated Sir Anthony Hopkins. That's some
shocking
point in her
to
life. Yes, right? And maybe like the best part of the story is not even that she dated him, but how they broke up. So we don't know exactly how long they dated or when they dated, but it was sometime around the time of the 91 thriller, The Silence of the Lambs, when they broke up, because she was so creeped out by his performance that she couldn't separate Sir Anthony Hopkins from Dr. Hannibal Lecter. And she has this place in Maine that's like, she called it a big scary house. It's on 100 acres in the forest. It's by itself. There's not really neighbors close by. And she started thinking, like, I don't want to take Anthony Hopkins there by myself. That's just creepy now. Because she was so creeped out by his Oscar-winning performance, she broke up with him.
That is hilarious.
Can you imagine doing your job so well that your relationship ends?
I mean, he was legendary. He's iconic as Hannibal Lecter, and he is so convincing with every character he plays. That's why he's as good as he is. And of course, he won the Oscar for that role too. And I could imagine if you're in a big empty house in Maine and you're looking over at this guy that you're dating and it's Hannibal Lecter. And, you know, Martha is very proper and she likes to have formal dinners. And apparently the culinary aspect of him being a cannibal is and then, you know, talking about that, he likes to have a nice Chianti with when he
oh my gosh, when he does that thing with the farfa beans. Yes. Horrible.
I kind of don't blame her. And so, and then real quick, also, Octomom back in the news. Why is that?
Her kids are 13. Can you believe this? This was 13 years ago that Octomom, already a mother to 6 children, gave birth to 8 more.
Unbelievable. So I'm Victoria Keelan with Jay Kirshner, and we have a very special guest, good friend of the DJV show, Rich McFadden from Radio America, joins us bright and early. Thanks, Richie, for hanging out with us today while we're having a bit of a girls' day. Well, we love having you.
I love joining the girls.
Yes, that's true. That's the thing about Rich. Rich can be girly when he needs to, and I like that. I appreciate it.
No. Let's get this straight. I'm not girly, but I love hanging with the girls.
Okay.
So you guys are always fun. That's how rumors start.
Clarification there.
I know.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Bad rumors.
So anyway, so thanks for hanging out. And Jay, you've got an interesting story that happened this weekend. We were talking about this massive storm that hit the East Coast, and I'm in New Jersey. We got more than a foot of snow right on the coast, which is very rare, and all the way up to Massachusetts set a record. Maine has problems. People are still missing, still without power. And when people have no power, they tend to use whatever they can, to generate heat, whether it's a generator with propane or whatever they may do. Unfortunately, people sit in the car and they don't ventilate the car while it's running, and people die of carbon monoxide poisoning. So what happened in this hotel? Because this seemed like this was a widespread, either a leak or something went down, but a lot of people got sick.
Yeah, they're definitely investigating it. It happened at a Hampton Inn in Marysville, Ohio, around like 5:30. I think this was Saturday afternoon, evening. Police were called because of a report of an unconscious 2-year-old. And then police get there, and then they start receiving additional reports of unconscious people around the pool area. Other people are experiencing severe dizziness and burning throats, and they found that there were life-threatening levels of carbon monoxide happening, mainly detected at the hotel pool area. That's where the majority of it was happening. And 11 people total, a bunch of kids, like 6 kids, 5 adults, 2 were in critical condition, 5 serious condition, 4 people were treated and released. Like, This is astounding. You don't expect this. I don't think anybody ever thinks about carbon monoxide when they go to hotels. We think about it at home. Yeah, we think about it at home. We all have the detectors and everything, but when you're traveling, you're thinking, oh, it's not going to happen here. This is a hotel. They have all the things they need to have in order, and clearly not.
It's odd that it was from like the pool area. Is it an indoor pool? That's kind of making me wonder, like, what was generating that much of a leak, right? That seems strange.
Well,
it has to have been an indoor pool
ventilation.
area. Yeah, especially because of all the snow that was there. I can't imagine a whole bunch of people just chilling around the pool if it was an outdoor.
You know what it probably is it was the vents were ducts were
clogged maybe,
clogged to the outside. Yeah.
Oh.
So the snow probably covered up some of the ventilation to get the air outside, and then it backed up inside. But
that's scary.
It's funny. We talk about this, and we still hear these stories every year. Somebody puts a generator in their garage.
Yep, I know.
Somebody puts a propane heater in their basement,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just like, really?
Yep.
We talk about this all the time,
I know.
and people still don't know how dangerous this is.
Yeah, and space heaters with all the fires. I know, and you have to wonder, like, well, wait a minute, we see this on your local news, right? You don't need to be paying attention to like national news. It seems like there are local stories all the time that you should be aware of, and especially it's heartbreaking. I know this happened down in Texas. I want to say after the tornadoes tore through and it got cold, and there was a mother and her young daughter who went, and I guess she didn't realize, and they sat in the car with the garage door closed, and they turned the car on to keep warm, and they both died. And these stories happen so often. It's a shame, but you're right, Jay. I would not ever think to be worried at a hotel because you think that they've got all the system in place.
While I start traveling with my carbon monoxide detector, apparently.
I know, right?
That's what needs to happen.
Yeah. That's that is a thing. I have heard people do that. That they travel with a portable carbon monoxide detector, which just seems like overkill, but maybe not.
Yeah, I will now.
You think about it at home, quote unquote. You think about it at home, but do you really? I mean, don't you just kind of put the thing up on the ceiling and then?
I'm an apartment dweller. I do think about it, and I watch that little green light.
Yep, yeah. I look at the number all the time. I'm like, it's still 0, right? Yep. Okay. Good.
Do you really?
I really do.
Funny. I mean, I hang the thing up. I check the battery once a year. Every now and then you hear a little blip and you freak out and you walk down and you look at it. But am I testing it once every 2 weeks or once a month? No. I'm just like, okay, I'm looking at it right now. No lights. I'm good.
I do think about it. As I said, we're apartment dwellers, so I do think about that. But the strange thing is, this is the first apartment complex that I've ever lived in, apartment building that I've ever lived in that doesn't have a gas stove. So I used to be, when I lived in Manhattan, I was a lot more concerned about, carbon monoxide. And because if there's a leak of gas, like entire buildings have exploded in New York. And so that actually brings me to, it's dangerous. So now in where we live right now, it's just all electric. So I'm not really sure what even would generate carbon monoxide that we have here, but that's fine. I feel safer with that. But like Jay was saying, you think about these things at home. Well, there's a new study out that gas stoves are so much worse for the environment than previously thought. And the reason for it actually has a direct health implication to people living at home with gas stoves. The amount of methane that constantly leaks from the study was a lot more than what the researchers thought it would be. They said that when gas stoves are not running, they put 2.6 million tons of methane into the air each year. That's the equivalent of 500,000 cars. That, I would never think, and Rich, you tease me a lot, I like to be environmentally green and everything. I would never think that my stove, my own stove, and now I have an electric stove now that I hate, and I wish I had a gas stove again because they're so much better, but I never ever would have thought that I have an environmental terrorist in my kitchen, and it's my stove.
It's not running.
Yeah.
Even when it's not running.
It totally makes sense. But let me tell you what the new technology is, that gas stoves are going away. Induction cooktops. That's what I have an electric cooktop right now. getting rid of that. I'm going to induction because, especially like if you're a parent of little kids and you're so worried about them touching it, this induction is like magnets creating the friction with the pan, and you can take the pan gets hot. What's in the pan gets hot, but the cooktop itself does
Never
not.
gets hot? That's cool.
So like, let's say you're cooking spaghetti sauce. You can put paper towels on the cooktop in between the pan and the. I went to the showroom and the guy showed me this. In between
so
the
it
pan
doesn't
and the
splash?
cooktop.
Yeah.
So when it splashes on the thing, and then when you just take the pan off, you just wipe it off, and you can touch. There will be a little bit of conductive heat from the pan sitting on there, but you can still touch it. And
That's
it's just,
amazing.
It's amazing technology.
Now, what's the bottom part? What's the oven component? Or is there no oven component? Is it just the top?
It would just be an electric stove then.
Regular
an electric oven.
Oven, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of communities.
Cooktop.
Yeah, a lot of communities are like New York City, San Francisco, San Jose, Berkeley, a lot of places in California. A lot of those cities are now banning gas stoves completely on any new construction. Now, like I said, in California, it's environmental. In New York City, it's safety because everybody has gas stove. There are gas pipelines running all over New York City. And as soon as there's a tiny leak, if you smell that smell, which isn't the gas itself, it's an additive that they put in it so that you can smell it. And so once you smell that smell, you call Con Ed and the entire block gets shut down. It's a huge inconvenience. And people, without a gas stove, like what can you do in New York? Luckily, you just get takeout. But I've gone through this where we've had like no stove for a couple weeks because of a gas leak. And so it makes a lot more sense going forward that new construction would have electric. The downside, though, too, is that it is more expensive. Like our electric bill is a lot more now that we have an electric stove and everything is electric. But if it is safer and we're not going to blow up, because that was really a legitimate fear of every New Yorker. At some point during each day, it crosses your mind that your building might blow up. Like that's on top of all the other things that New York City makes you think of, crime, traffic, whatever. The thought of blowing up is actually real.
You don't know if one of your neighbors left it on by accident,
You
or
don't
if
know.
they were late night cooking because they had too much fun and they left it on, or their butt hit it. Because sometimes your butt, it only lights if you push the button in and turn it. Yeah. But you can still turn it without actually lighting it, and then the fumes are just going everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying your butt.
No, I did. I did.
Realize you were saying your button. Oh, okay.
No. I did say your
butt hits the button.
You hit the button with your butt by like not even realizing it, and it's enough to turn the knob where all the gas is coming out, but it didn't light it, so you don't really.
It's true,
notice.
And you don't hear it. You don't hear the clicking. It's just enough to leak it out. Now, the one thing about this study that was interesting too, obviously, as we're talking about methane leaking into your home, well, think about what that can actually do to your health. That is the next level now that this study has shown that stoves leak so much more methane than anyone ever really, thought. So now this could have some health implications, and I'm sure going forward we'll probably get some more information on that. All right, more stories coming up. We've got Trending with Jay up next. And so, guys, the Olympics start on Friday. I know this is a very controversial Olympics. There are, diplomatic boycotts happening. A lot of broadcast networks are not sending anybody over. They claimed it was because of COVID, but we really think it's probably a lot more than that. But are you guys going to watch any of this? Because I don't really know if I care.
Nope.
Right?
No,
it's not controversial for me.
Yeah, I normally I will check in on like snowboarding and stuff like that.
I do like snowboarding, yeah.
I have a whole lot of, I just find it hard to care this year.
Yep. I know, and the Winter Olympics I normally really like, and there's a new study actually that came out. Unfortunately, for anybody who's a Winter Olympic fan and you want it to come back to the United States, Tahoe by 2050 will be too warm to ever host the Winter Olympics again. That is a bummer. We may only be at the top of the mountain in Japan, in the city of Sapporo, might be the only place left. So, Jay, in Trending, right, this has been a story that started building last week, all about Spotify, and I think it was Neil Young was the first artist saying he was going to pull all of his music if they don't stop the spread of COVID-19, the vaccine misinformation, mostly aimed at Joe Rogan. So how is this story developed? Because I feel like a lot more people are involved now.
Yeah, Neil Young is getting a lot of support. So Neil Young said that he would take his stuff off of Spotify if Spotify did not remove the Joe Rogan Experience from their catalog. And Spotify was like, well, we'll do the favor for you and we'll just kick you off ourselves. It's fine, whatever. And then
And all of Neil Young's fans are like, we have an 8-track, so we don't know what Spotify is.
Right.
Well, and then you have Joni Mitchell, who is seeking to remove all of her music from Spotify in solidarity with Young for the same reasons. Oh my gosh, why can't I don't know how to say his first name, but Lofgren.
Oh, Nils Lofgren.
Nils
Again,
Lofgren,
yeah.
Bruce Springsteen's guitarist. Yes.
Right. But again, and you know, Nils Lofgren, lovely person. I've interviewed him once. Very sweet guy. Not moving the Spotify needle, though. I mean, it's, again, his fan base very much in line with Neil Young. None of this is really affecting Spotify at this point. But then other people have signed on now to this, and now we're getting into some heavy hitters. So I saw Bruce Springsteen.
Joe Rogan released a video last night responding to it all.
And what does he say?
What did his say?
He's like, hey, listen, you know, I don't try and create this controversy. I'm just having conversations. And I want to have conversations from all sides. I had Sanjay Gupta on. I had this doctor on. I had that doctor on. He goes, so I don't care. So, like, you know, I apologize if he doesn't agree with your terms, but these are the conversations I want to have. And he's like, maybe what I could do a better job of is bringing both sides in a closer proximity to each other, so that when I present one side, I then immediately present the other side, so that people feel that they're fairly represented. He's like, he goes, I don't prep. I'm just having conversations. So do I get things wrong sometimes? Yeah, maybe. But that I'm not about, you know, doing 7 hours of prep to get all the detailed information. I'm about having interesting conversations with interesting people. Can I do a better job of prepping? Yeah, I guess. Sure.
I'm happy he said that, because that's the responsibility that a lot of people want him to take.
Well, and he talked about that too, because he talked about how this thing has grown, this show has grown into something he could have never imagined. And along with that comes a responsibility, because but he goes, I'm just having conversations.
Yeah. And I think there's room. I mean, I believe there is room for, you know, everybody. And that's why, you know, on a service like Spotify, there should be, you know, that's why you can pick and choose what you want to listen to.
Yeah, let me tell you something. Neil Young does not stand a chance, because the service that Joe Rogan is providing
there's
many,
there's
for sure.
so far beyond whatever Neil Young and anybody else can bring to.
Well, here's the thing, though. So the thing that's interesting, now we've got Willie Nelson has added on. He's taking his music off. Bruce Springsteen, Barbara Streisand. Okay, but Springsteen, that's a big one. Barbara Streisand, who cares? Queen, that's a big one. Paul McCartney, Paul McCartney, that's a big one. The Rolling Stones, that's a big one.
That's a big one.
Dave Grohl, that's a big one.
But here's the problem with that.
And Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam's another one.
If people are removing their catalogs and their work because they don't like what other people are saying, and they're saying, hey, this is not okay, there's misinformation, it can be hazardous. Well, let's stop telling people what to think and tell people how to think. Like the chief executive of Spotify. Yeah, the chief executive of Spotify was like, we're not going to remove stuff because that's not our responsibility to pick a side versus the other, but we will start having disclaimers or warnings at the beginning. And again, I go back to my thing. Stop telling people what to think and teach them how to think and do their own research. Look into all the avenues.
Well, now we know all the bands that are for censorship and squelching free speech. So that's good. Keep them coming. We knew about Bruce. I mean, we knew.
All right. It's the DJV show.
I am Robert Strickler. My wife Joyce and I have been married for 53 years. Certainly one of the really important things in my life are our children and our grandchildren. I am essentially a writer. I've been involved in communications in the media. I've been an avid fly fisherman for at least 40 or more years. I've been taking Prevagen on a regular basis for at least 8 years. For me, the greatest benefit over the years has been that Prevagen seems to help me recall things and also think more clearly, have a crisper ability to remember and think through things. And I enthusiastically recommend Prevagen. It has helped me an awful lot.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life. Robert Strickler is a content contributor for Prevagen and real user. Based on a clinical study of subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired, this product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
All right, so Jay, Janet Jackson's name has been everywhere on social media for the last at least couple of days to a week. What is going on? Why is she still trending?
Well, her 2-part documentary where she discusses just so much in her life. Something that's also touched is that Super Bowl halftime show, the infamous one with Justin Timberlake and the last lines of the song before the performance is done. I'm going to have you naked by the end of this song. And Justin takes a piece of her wardrobe away, and there was that infamous wardrobe malfunction, which also kind of
actually coined the phrase. That incident
wardrobe
coined
malfunction.
The phrase. Yeah, we now have Janet to thank for that.
And it also contributed to the formation of YouTube. That was one of the things.
That's true. Yeah. That is very true. Yeah, that's something a lot of people don't realize about YouTube, is that it inspired the creation because everybody wanted to go back and see what that viral moment was and to see, did she really flash her nipple? Was it, and then she had that big nipple jewelry piece on, and it was so much controversy about that. And, at the time, I remember watching this and I was like, I didn't get what the big hoopla was because I didn't see anything. Most people, it happened so quickly. Most people didn't see anything at all, and I wouldn't have known.
Of course, you TiVoed it and then you freeze frame.
Oh, well, I was going to say you could totally tell because it almost looked like it was supposed to happen because she had a little decoration thingy.
Right.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, this was planned.
Well, but it was and it wasn't. She came out and she said that after all of the final preparations and the final rehearsals were done, she thought it would be kind of cool if they did this little thing where he takes apart part of her outfit, but it was supposed to reveal her red lacy bra. The problem was the bra didn't agree to those plans and decided to slip underneath of its position, and that's what exposed her boob. Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, I feel like we finally got an explanation because she has sat on this for 16 years, 17 years,
she got so much hate for this. She was pretty much entirely to blame in the public eye.
Got canceled.
Where Justin, who was the one that did it, he was kind of like this, everybody perceived him as this innocent bystander. And to the point where Janet was even like, look, this is all coming at me. Everybody's coming for me on this. If you want to stay quiet about it, you probably should. And even... what was it, the Grammys or CBS? They were supposed to perform, and they were like, well, as long as you apologize. And Justin was like, I'll apologize. And Janet was like, nah, I'm good.
All right. Well, there you go. Thanks so much, Jay. It's trending on the DJV show.
This is the DJV Download. I'm Doug.
I'm Jen.
And I'm Victoria.
This podcast made possible in part by Calitrin, the safe way to lose weight, Prevagen, keeping your brain healthy, and My Pillow, guaranteed the most comfortable pillow you'll ever own.
Somebody asked me the other day how he could lose his belly fat.
Calitrin targets all over body fat. Of course, belly fat tends to be where everybody carries it, but Calitrin just really gives your body back what it needs. So it revs up your metabolism naturally, and you burn off those fats and sugars the way that your body wants to. So you do lose the belly fat along with just all over toning too.
So does Calitrin work best with a diet, with an exercise program?
Well, we have people that have had success with it both ways. Obviously, if you're eating better, eating in moderation, staying away from the sugars and the sodas, you're going to see results faster than if you're just taking it by itself. But our 90-day program, that huge 86% success rate that we have, that's just with taking Calitrin alone. So check it out on our website, toploss.com. All the information is at toploss.com. That's TOPLOSS.com, or call us 1-833-TOP-LOSS.
And use the DJV code for all these specials when you check out.